Okay, so let's take a look at another concept here, and that's relations. You've been using them already, perhaps. Basically, since we have a 3D parametric program, we want to have a capability to control our sketches in a way that they change or scale or be modified in a way that keeps the design intent together. So let's go ahead and take a look at relations. So I'm going to create a sketch on the top plane here. And we're going to start adding some objects here. So you can see we've already added one relation. Here we have a perpendicular relation, and that was done because of the logic that it tries to do. It tries to snap in relations as I'm going in the sketcher. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes to create this. So maybe I want to ensure that this line, which is kind of horizontal, but it's actually not, is truly horizontal and will always be horizontal. So I'd add another relation called horizontal, and that's what this little symbol is saying, this little green symbol. Now if I try to grab this endpoint, notice that the design intent for this base of this what is essentially a rectangle is always horizontal. And that's the relation that we're trying to maintain. And likewise, I could add some more horizontal and even a vertical relation. And so what SOLIDWORKS is trying to do is every time I click on an object, it actually comes up with relations that it thinks might be in context for what you're trying to do. So you can also add a relation manually, and it will give you options of what relations are available to work with. In this case, all we have is horizontal and vertical. I'm going to add some construction geometry here. Okay. And if I select a couple of these objects, holding my control key down, and select the origin or the axes here, holding the control key down, there's a new relation that pops up called intersection. And that's now going to force this rectangle to be driven right into the center of where my origin is. And that's a good relation to have as well. So another relation that's really powerful that you should really keep in mind is called coincident. So we're going to grab another line sketch, and I come down, and let's say I stop short, and I really want the end of this line segment to be coincident to this top line. If I select that endpoint and hold control key and select the top line, there's a coincident relation that I can add. And you can see it's basically forcing that line to stay kind of locked to that top surface. So that's a good relation that comes up a lot that will be useful for you. So between the dimensioning and adding these relations, I now have an object here, or a figure, that is parametric. So when I change the dimensions, the design intent is maintained. So like we're maintaining horizontal and vertical sides. Without that, if I just use dimensions to control it, I may end up with, if I change dimension, one side might be out of being vertical or horizontal and not aligned with the other side the way I want it. So it's all about controlling design intent. And another relation that's really handy is the tangent relation. So I'm drawing a circle here, and maybe I want this circle to be tangent to this top line. So if I select the objects, select that object, hold the control key down, notice that in context it knows it has a circular figure and that the relation that is available to be added is tangent. If I hit that, now we have a tangential point. And it will always maintain that. So if I was dragging that around, you know, the diameter is not being controlled right now, but it's always going to maintain tangential location relative to that top edge. Okay, another relation that's really handy is, let's draw some lines here and draw another line. And let's say that even though these lines are horizontal, which is showing the horizontal relation, maybe I want them collinear, so in the same line. I would select both of those objects, and I would just hit collinear. And that's always going to force or maintain these two objects to be collinear. Even if I move them, they're always going to be forced as collinear. So that's also a handy relation. Another relation that's really handy is the concentric. So I'm going to draw two circles, and maybe I want these two circles to be concentric to each other. So I just select the two center points, and I would select the two objects, the two circular objects, and then I would just hit concentric. And that's going to force these to always be concentric. So definitely a very handy relation. Another relation that might be useful is if you had some sort of object that you did not want to move. I mean, you wanted it locked down regardless of what you're trying to do with your design intent. And you could select an object like this corner, and I could force that to be fixed. And what that does is makes it so this corner will not go anywhere, and because of all the other relations, it's pretty well locked down because I have this center point and I have this corner locked down. So if I remove that, I'm allowed to move this the dimensions of this rectangle. So that's kind of the fixed relation. It does limit you because you lose some of the parametric ability to control the ultimate sizing of things because it's a fixed lock point. And another relation that is really handy is the midpoint relation. So if I draw two lines, and let's say they were out here, and I didn't wake up the relations as I was building it, I could still add a midpoint relation by selecting the two objects. Here I'm selecting the endpoint and this object, and it's going to force the line, the endpoint of the line to the midpoint of the other line, and maintain that. And we also have the horizontal and the vertical that was kind of automatically put in there because I woke up those relations as I was building this. So if you notice as you're going forward, you'll notice that these relations, these almost like they're snaps, are being woken up, and you can see them being generated. Okay, so that's kind of the overview of relations. There's quite a few more relations that are out there. Just to give you a list, if you go to sketch relation icons in the help, kind of gives you a list of them along X, Y, and Z. We talked about coincident. We talked about collinear. There's a co-radial. There's concentric, equal relations, which is really handy to force objects to be equal. Some of the other ones that might be handy is the horizontal, which we use a lot. The intersection, to force two lines to intersect. A merge, we did the midpoint. A normal relation, an offset relation. Some of the other important ones might be a perpendicular relation, because say I want these two lines to always be perpendicular. Symmetric relation, after you mirror an object, it'll force a symmetric relation, which maybe you want to remove later on and control that manually. And there's some other various relations in here. So that's the ones I gave you are going to be the main heavy hitters of what you're going to need to use in the course. And so I hope this helps. Thanks for watching.